what's happening around the world and what's happening here at home. A very good evening and welcome to Weekend Primetime News. I'm Sandru Ferdinando. Now before we get into our stories in detail, let's take a quick look at our headlines for tonight.
President arrives in the country after concluding a state visit to the Philippines. 2 extraordinary gazettes issued. Fatal motor accident in Nainamadama claims 6 lives and injures 3. Burnt remains of a person with tied hands and legs found inside a house in Kolpiti. Foreigners residing in the house questioned by police. Lawyers point out that the expert committee on the new constitution does not have the authority to present the report in Parliament. Another presidential candidate.
President Maithripala Sirisena arrived in the island after concluding a state visit to the Philippines last evening. Now, upon arrival of the president, 2 extraordinary gazettes have been issued revising the duties of several state institutions which have been allocated to several cabinet and non-cabinet ministers.
The gazette includes information of the state institutions which have been allocated to Minister Ravindra Samaraveera, the non-cabinet Minister of Labour and Trade Union Affairs. Accordingly, 9 institutions, including the Department of Labour, National Institute of Labour Studies, Employees Provident Fund, Office of the Commissioner of Workmen's Compensation, Shramavasana Fund and the Employees Trust Fund will fall under the purview of Minister Ravindra Samaraveera. These institutions were previously vested with the Minister of Labour, Trade Relations and Social Empowerment, Daya Gamage. Later, it was amended as the Ministry of Primary Industries and Social Empowerment. Several institutions which fall under the subject of primary industries, such as the Department of Export Agriculture and the Spice and Timber Products Board, were vested with Minister Daya Gamage. Further, several more institutions have been added to the non-cabinet portfolio of economic reforms and public distribution through this extraordinary gazette. Dr. Harsha De Silva is the current non-cabinet Minister of Economic Reforms and Public Distribution. Therefore, the Department of Census and Statistics, which was previously under the Prime Minister, and the Food Commissioner's Department, which was under Minister P. Harrison, will now fall under the purview of Dr. Harsha De Silva. Furthermore, the 1990 Suasaria Foundation, the Family Economic Unit, Data Analysis Unit and the Task Force for Public Distribution will also come under the non-cabinet portfolio of economic reforms and public distribution, according to this extraordinary gazette.
Now, today marks Durutu Full Moon Poe Day. Now, this Poe Day is of special importance as it signifies the day Lord Buddha first visited the island.
Nine months after his enlightenment, Lord Buddha first arrived in the island on Durutu Full Moon Poe Day to solve a conflict between 2 Yaksha and Naga tribesmen. History also states it is the day on which the Mahayangane Chaitya was built. It contains hair relics of the Lord Buddha, which was presented to Lord Sumana Saman. A special puja was held at the Shakya Malake opposite the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited this afternoon. The special puja to mark the Durutu Poe Day was organised by Newsfirst. The Alutsahal Mangalya to present the first portion of harvest at the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic was held today at the auspicious time of 10:11 am. The religious observances was held under the auspices of Venerable Narampanave Anandathera and Devada Nilame Pradeep Nilanga Dala.
Credentials were presented to Shrastapati Most Venerable Kottave Nandathero in recognition of the services rendered by the Thera. Now, the ceremony to present the credentials was held under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The event was held at the BMICH in Colombo. The event saw the participation of the Maha Sangha, including the Mahanayaka of the Mahavihara Vanshika Shyamopali Vanavasa sect, Most Venerable Ampitiya Sri Mangalabhidhana Thera. Honorary credentials were presented to Most Venerable Kottave Nandathera by Most Venerable Ampitiya Sri Mangalabhidhana Thera. The Vijini Pata was presented by President Maithripala Sirisena. 46th Dhamma sermon of Janapati Sadaham Dharmadeshana was held at the Kitsirimewan Rajamahaviharaya in Kalaniya. Chief incumbent of the Kalaniya Rajamahaviharaya, Venerable Kollupitiye Mahinda Sangharakkhitha Thera, conducted the religious observances and extended the blessings to President Maithripala Sirisena. The Bomaluwa, the Bodhigare and the wall of the Bodhiya, including the Atpaura, which were renovated with the donation of the President and relatives, were also dedicated to the Viharaya during the religious observances.
Now in some tragic news, 10 people were killed and 5 others were injured in a series of accidents reported from across the island during the past 24 hours. The most fatal accident was reported from Nainamadama, Vennapur this morning. A motor vehicle collided onto a lorry near the Nainamadama bridge along the Chilla-Colombo main road at around 3:20 this morning. The motor vehicle, which was carrying 9 people from a wedding in Waikala, collided with a lorry transporting fish from Galle to Chilla. 6 out of the 9 passengers of the motor vehicle were killed. The deceased were 36-year-old Pradeep Lowood, 32-year-old Suranga Sampath, 34-year-old Sanjeeva Fernando, 38-year-old Janit Fernando, Manju Fernando and Bandara. Our correspondent said that 3 injured people were admitted to the Negombo hospital and 2 of them were later transferred to the National Hospital. Police said a firearm manufactured in Italy was also found in the motor vehicle that met with the accident. A 35-year-old was killed in an accident that took place in Thambaravila along the Kurunagala-Negombo main road. Police said the person was killed after the motorbike he was travelling in toppled and knocked onto another motor vehicle. An 18-year-old youth was killed after he was met with a motor accident in the Vellavaya junction along the Vellavaya-Alder road last evening. The motorbike the 18-year-old was travelling in collided with a van carrying prison officials. The deceased was identified as Seneth Taruka, a resident of Warunagama, Vellavaya. Driver of the 3-wheeler that knocked onto a lorry parked in the Kosvetiava area in Pallebadda along the Ambilipitiya Ratnapura road at around 5:15 this morning was killed. The deceased was a 42-year-old resident of Timbulketiya and a father of 2. 2 women and 2 children were in the 3-wheeler at the time of the accident, was also admitted to the Ambilipitiya and Pallebadda hospitals. Another youth was killed after the motorbike he was travelling in veered off the road in Gampa early this morning. The 25-year-old deceased was a resident of Gampaha. 3 people, including an 8-year-old child, died following a collision with a train at railway crossing in Tudela Jaila last evening. Locals charged that the gatekeeper of the railway crossing had not reported for duty to a salary issue. Meanwhile, burnt remains of an individual were found inside a house in Golface Court in Kolpiti.
The remains were discovered at the top floor of the housing complex following a tip-off received to the 119 hotline last afternoon. The deceased served as a cook at a house resided by a British national and his spouse, a Thai national. Relatives said the 49-year-old deceased left his residence in Hokandara North, Atharugiriya yesterday in the morning to report for duty. Statements have been recorded from the foreign nationals and the security officers at the housing complex. The Kolpiti Police and the Colombo Crimes Division have commenced an investigation into the incident. The remains have been sent to the National Hospital for the post-mortem examination. Investigations are also underway with regard to a complaint lodged about the driver of the British national who went missing a few days ago.
Now the suspects who were arrested from Laktovatta by the Criminal Investigations Department for the possession of 100 kilograms of explosives are being interrogated further. The courts have permitted the CID to interrogate the suspects under detention orders for 90 days starting from the 17th of January. A raid was carried out on the 17th of this month based on a tip-off received by the CID on a suspect allegedly involved in the destruction of Buddha statues in the Mavanala area, hiding out in a coconut estate in Vanathuvilluva. 4 suspects, including the owner of the coconut estate and a stock of explosives that were buried, were taken into police custody. The police also found 3 barrels stocked with explosives, 6 cans of nitric acid, 99 detonators, and a few books published in Tamil and Arabic. Special police protection has been deployed at the plot land in question. I am standing opposite the gate of the Laktovatta land where a large amount of explosives that were buried was discovered. You cannot photograph or capture video footage here. We can see how special protection has been deployed on the other side of this gate. The CID is also conducting special investigations probing into whether this group had foreign ties. The CID further stated that the individual who was suspected of destroying Buddha statues has not yet been found. The police will conduct further investigations to arrest this individual. The fall armyworm or the Sena caterpillar has begun to hinder the lives of people engaged in other industries as well.
The Newsfirst team investigating the damage done by the fall armyworm in the Monragala district came across the corn shops on either sides of the Monragala-Bibila road. We noticed how a majority of the corn shops have closed up. We are taking the opportunity to visit the very few corn shops that have stayed open. These corn shops on the roadside of the Monragala-Buttala main road are usually bustling with business during the weekends. As a result of the devastation caused by the Sena caterpillar, these shops are almost abandoned.
Oh, tahu dah material business ne. Iya karal tis pahi ukunan pulang une. Karalak pesi pahi baane palawai.
Previously, we bought corn from this shop. This is what we are purchasing today. We cannot purchase corn because we are afraid. The villages have been destroyed because of this. We are afraid to consume corn. This problem is not limited to the corn traders in Hulandava, Ampara. Corn traders island-wide are affected by this. The lorry drivers don't bring corn anymore. Neither do people buy corn because of this fall armyworm menace. It is very difficult for us to live. Our correspondent stated that at least 100 corn traders have given up on their trading activities in Ampara owing to the fall armyworm menace. Meanwhile, the fall armyworm has been reported from a cornfield in Selvanagar, Kilinochi for the first time. Our correspondent further reported that the Sena caterpillar menace has not only destroyed the corn crops in Kiniyapuram, Akkarai-Pattu, but also affected the bean cultivation in the area.
5 pesticides have been introduced to the farmers in this regard. We have also put forward a proposal that would provide compensation to farmers whose entire crops have been destroyed by the fall armyworm menace. Farmers whose crops were destroyed by the fall armyworm menace will be provided compensation by the acre. Around 40,000 rupees will be paid in compensation per acre. We recommend that land that has been heavily infested with the fall armyworm menace be set on fire.
සේරම අවලස්සන වෙලා තිබුණේ ගම්මැද්ද වීපෝස් අයියලා අක්කලා අපට මේවා පාට කරලා දුන්නා ඔයගොල්ලෝ පාට කළේ බිත්ති විතරක් නෙවෙයි අපේ ජීවිතත් පාට වැටුණා ඔයගොල්ලෝ අපට නායකත්වය පෙන්වලා දුන්නා ඒ නායකත්වය රටටත් පෙන්වයි. Thank you ගම්මැද්ද වීපෝස්.
ගම්මැද්ද වීපෝස්.
The Economy Next, quoting State Minister of Finance Eran Wickramaratne, says that Sri Lanka's Cabinet of Ministers has given the nod to raise up sovereign bonds.
According to the article, the cabinet has given the approval to raise $2 billion through sovereign bonds. Economy Next quotes the state minister as saying, Sri Lanka will go to market with different tenors and volumes at opportune times. Unquote. On January 14, Sri Lanka repaid a bond worth $1 billion without rolling it over. Sri Lanka bond yields have fallen sharply according to Economy Next. Recent research carried out by a Colombo-based think tank, Verite Research, has revealed that Sri Lanka getting caught in a debt trap has less to do with its borrowings from China but more to do with its participation in international bond market activities. Accordingly, it has identified that less than 15% of the external debt is resulted from the borrowings made from China. Analysis made by Verite Research revealed that almost 50% of Sri Lanka's debt liabilities are due to international financial and bond markets. Speaking at the 2018 annual session of the Sri Lanka Economic Association recently, the governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka spoke about the country's debt burden.
We took on a lot of commercial debt and allowed exports to fall. Of course, there's no problem in taking on commercial external debt, but you can't then put it into non-tradables or into projects that don't give you a high enough rate of return to earn or save enough foreign exchange. Now, you know we got all that wrong, and that's why we are in the mess that we're in.
Views were expressed about the statements made by Tamil National Alliance parliamentarian M.A. Sumandiran criticizing the media. Shakti TV and the radio stations report news while following media principles ethically, legally and in an unbiased manner. Criticizing media using brutal words and threatening media shouldn't be done. We should condemn such acts. MTV MBC Media Organization is unbiased and always speaks on behalf of the people. How is he even suitable to speak about words like democracy, good governance and rule of law when criticizing the fifth pillar of democracy media? We thoroughly condemn such acts. Tamil Arasukachi Party has also a history of criticizing media organizations who report against them and the stance they hold. Opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa attended an event at a temple in Beliata. At the event, journalists questioned the leader about the current political situation. Yes, it should be written in Chinese. They sold the port to the Chinese. I wonder whether those things will be included in the autobiography. It is better if matters like how the resources of this country were sold are included. To divide the country? Then what was presented? They said that this was for the constitution. Some say this is not a constitution. Some say this is not a draft. Some say it is a draft. Only Sumandiran is aware as to what this is. Ranil and Sumandiran are aware. We are unaware as to what is going on. They are trying to do things that they have agreed in secret. We will not let that happen. That is all we have to say. Here are some of the views expressed by the UNP parliamentarians about the proposed constitution.
The constitution, which was brought in 1978 by the United National Party, is more than 40 years old. We have so far amended this 19 times. So I'd like to ask you, if we are going to amend it for the 20th time or create a more suitable and appropriate new constitution for another 20 to 50 years, MP Sumandiran and Sambandhan have agreed to the unitary state concept. There is an attempt to create a fake demon in the name of the constitution and destroy our religion. The attempt is to destroy and split the country. When the Sri Lanka Freedom Party contested in the 2015 elections, they spoke about this constitution. The United National Party during the election spoke about the constitution. Every time everyone faces an election, they deceive the people in the north and the south by constantly talking about the constitution. We are not working with the intention of splitting the country.
Meanwhile, a group of professionals expressed their views about the new constitutional process at a public meeting in Homagama yesterday. I think it is neither the Parliament, Constitutional Council, the subcommittees nor the operational committees who carry out these activities. These matters are being controlled by the expert committee, which is not accountable to Parliament. Who are the members of the committee of experts? The co-chairman of the committee is MP Jampati and Sumandiran. Both of them are involved with the subcommittees as well. It seems like the compiling process of constitution has been completely carried out by Sumandiran and Jampati Vikramaratna. The expert committee does not have the authority to prepare a report and present it. They are now attempting to forcefully operate within the Parliament.
Six subcommittees were appointed for the process of compiling the constitution. I am the chairman of the subcommittee on state finance. We prepared the working committee report on state finances after inquiring the Tamil, Muslim and other political parties. In the report, we clearly mentioned that the complete authority of state finances should be vested with the Parliament. What's mentioned here about state finances is completely different from the recommendations put forward by the chairman and other members. After mentioning everything at the end, it says that the provincial councils are vested with the responsibility of carrying out state financial activities as provisioned by a written law or the constitution and to impose taxes. This draft bill also gives local governments the authority to obtain domestic and foreign loans.
Now the Prime Minister says that this is just a document and not a constitution. There is a preface made just like how you make one for a constitution. If there is a constitutional preference and if a document made with the Article 399, what are you going to do with it? Meditate? It's shameful. This document was to be presented to Parliament on the 6th and the 7th of November last year as a report of the Operational Committee. They couldn't do it at the Operational Committee. Now what have they done? The report, which was to be approved in the Operational Committee, the Prime Minister is now trying to present it to Parliament through the Committee of Experts. It was done in such a rush, the cover of the Sinhalese copy is in English. Governor of the Western Province, Azad Sali, called on the Askari and Malwata chief prelates today.
Sali, who arrived at the Askari Mahavihara this morning, called on the chief prelate of the Askari chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Jnana Ratnathera. Azad Sali then arrived at the Mira Makkah Mosque and engaged in religious observances. The governor of the Western Province then arrived at the Malwatu Mahavihara and called on the chief prelate, Most Venerable Tibbatwe Sri Sumangala Thera.
If there is going to be a new constitution, that should happen when the government has changed and the government is new. When this is being done at the last moment, when there are preparations to go into an election, everyone has a problem. We saw how the leaders of Tamil parties spoke when this was being brought. This causes a huge damage to the UNP. The Mahanayaka Theras have made a request from the President. There have been 400 letters sent from Kovils asking the President to grant pardon. We will see in the future what we can do as well.
I
was a person who worked for the UNP. The UNP deceived me not just once but twice. I have my own party. We will take the decision at the opportune moment. Do not panic. Our person emerges at the right time. Some people are aware as to who it is but do not speak. Even if he is late, he will come out in style. A person who will be nominated from the whole country as president will emerge.
Meanwhile, journalists question Tissa Thanayaka regarding presidential election candidates.
I have an understanding on what needs to be done to cater to the needs of the country and its people. Therefore, accepting that opportunity at any point is not an issue to me. They are talking about Maithripala Sirisena, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Ranil Wickremesinghe, Karu Jayasuriya, Sajith Premadasa and many more. This was also the case back in 2015. However, unexpectedly, Maithripala Sirisena's name came up during that time and he was chosen as the common candidate. Therefore, I foresee a similar scenario taking place this time as well.
The 155th model village under the Udagammana project scheme was bestowed to the people of Serunuwara Seruvila in Trincomalee. The model village under the name Bo Sevanagama was declared open by Minister of Housing, Construction and Cultural Affairs and the Deputy Leader of the UNP, Sajith Premadasa. Along with the model village constructed with 25 houses, deeds were presented to the public by the Minister himself. The people of this country are aware there's a large group of caterpillars. These caterpillars are in the parliament and are attempting to destroy the country. There are caterpillars who are working their way up to obtain seats in the parliament through racism and religious differences. They are targeting to destroy the country and work their way to sit on either the president's seat, prime minister's seat or in a ministerial seat. Former Sri Lankan cricketer Mithra Vettamuni passed away this morning. Now he is the brother of former Sri Lankan cricketers Siddharth Vettamuni and Sunil Vettamuni.
Mr. Mitra Vettamuni was born on the 11th of July 1951. He played his debut international test representing Sri Lanka in 1983. He was also the captain of the Sri Lanka cricket team which defeated India for the first time in an international test match. Mr. Vettamuni was 67 years old when he passed away at his residence in Colombo at around 11 this morning.
The promotional activities of the 2018 Sports First Alliance Platinum Awards was held for the 5th consecutive day today. Now the promotional activities were carried out at the Tamil Madhya Mahavidyalaya in Vavuniya.
The Platinum Awards is held with the objective of recognizing, commending and awarding the talents of sportsmen and women of the country. 20 sportsmen and women will be awarded and 10 medals will be provided at the Platinum Awards 2018, which will be held on the 29th of March at the Stein Studios in Ratmalana. Allianz is the sponsor of Platinum Awards 2018. The speciality of the promotional activities carried out in the Vavuniya district is that rugby, baseball and football will be introduced to the school students. Platinum Awards were distributed to the high-performing sportsmen and women in the area. Athlete K. Kindujan of the Tamil Central College was given the Platinum Gold as the best sportsman in the area. Weightlifter Shammika Darshini obtained the Silver Platinum Award, while S. Sanjayan of the Vipulananda Central College clinched the Platinum Bronze Award. The promotional activities which commenced in Vavuniya proceeded to Mana after obtaining blessings from the Maranamadu Church. Several activities including musical shows and sports shows were held in Mana.
We leave you tonight with the footage of a woman reprimanding a group of police officers who had stopped her vehicle. This incident had taken place this morning near Golfbase. The forbearing nature of these police officers had been captured on a mobile phone. That being said, for the Newsfirst team, I'm Sandhu Ferdinando. Take care and good night.
Experience with the post uneducated I'm not talking about just the situation.
Oh,